All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you remember this incident from last year, 21-year-old Takai Young, she was from Columbus, Ohio. She was shot and killed by police after allegedly stealing liquor from a store and driving her car towards a police officer. Now, at the time of the incident, she was pregnant with her third child. And we have an update from that particular incident, and I'm going to expand further on the other side. Without further ado, let's get to it. DJ, spin that shit.
I'm Tracy Townsend. We begin 10 TV News at noon today with breaking news.
You never have to pull that gun on her, ever. It wasn't called for. He was a bully with a badge, and that was not right.
The grandmother of Takaya Young, her grandmother, speaking just minutes ago to the media after a grand jury indicted a Blendon Township police officer who shot and killed Takaya last August. This is a story we first told you about on the day it happened. Officers tried to stop the pregnant 21-year-old while she was in her car. Kroger employees had told the officers she stole several bottles of alcohol. 10 TV News reporter Kevin Lander started following the shooting right from the start. He joins us now live downtown with the latest from the family. They just talked. Kevin?
Well, good afternoon. We are outside the law offices of the attorney who represents the family of Takaya Young. This morning, the grand jury handed down an indictment of that officer in the shooting death of Takaya Young. This happened last year in the Kroger parking lot. Now, a Blendon Township officer, Connor Grubb, this is the first time we're hearing of his name, is now facing 4 counts of murder, felony assault, and involuntary manslaughter. Those charges involve both Young and her unborn child. A warrant has been issued for his arrest, and we've learned that he is now in custody. The family spoke at a news conference this morning and said this last year has been a whirlwind of hurt and pain.
I wanted to see Connor Grubb pay for what he did because it was wrong. It was wrong for him to take her and her baby out of here like he did. And I seen it on his body cam video. When I seen it and she said her last words, "Are you going to shoot me?" That tore me all the way up.
Meantime, the Fraternal Order of Police is speaking out against this decision, saying they are deeply disappointed. And their statement reads in part, like all law enforcement officers, Officer Grubb had to make a split-second decision, a reality all too familiar for those who serve to protect our communities. And we will have more on this story coming up tonight at 4 o'clock. Reporting live downtown, Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.
All right, Kevin, thank you for that. We are now also hearing from Blendon Township Police Chief John Belford following this indictment. And Belford says the department is going to be transparent to the public about the process.
We continue to believe that you deserve to know as much information as we can provide. We're starting the disciplinary process immediately. After reviewing the facts, the trustees will decide on the necessary disciplinary actions.
And Chief Belford also clarifies that the department has not passed any judgment onto the officer. However, since people who've been indicted cannot legally possess a gun, they are beginning the disciplinary process. All right, right now we are going to take a look back at how all of this unfolded last year outside of that Kroger store in Blendon Township. 10 TV's Lacey Chris walks us through the moments leading up to those shots being fired.
The incident happened on August 24th in the parking lot of Kroger on Sunbury Road. This is surveillance video from inside the store that day. The video shows Young putting bottles of alcohol in her bag and walking out. A store employee flagged down an officer who was in the parking lot helping a person get into their locked car. Then Grubb and another officer tried to stop Young, telling her to turn off the car, get out. She didn't listen and drove into Grubb, who was in front of her vehicle. Body-worn camera video shows the officer on Young's hood as she continued to drive. He then fired his gun through the windshield, hitting Young once in the chest, according to the Franklin County Coroner's Office. Officers did not know at the time that Young was pregnant. She was 6 months along. The unborn baby girl did not survive. BCI investigated the shooting and turned it over to the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office. They appointed a special prosecutor from Montgomery County to oversee the case.
And again, that was Lacey Crisp reporting. We are certainly going to continue to follow this breaking story this afternoon and beyond. You can download the free 10 TV app. You'll get push alerts, updates on this story and others sent straight to your phone.
Now, I have a lot of questions, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to ask two particular questions, right? One, what was he doing in front of the vehicle? Now, in police training, because, when I was in the military, I go through the same training as I went through the same training as police officers, whatever like that. One of the things they tell you is not to put yourself in a position where you can get hurt. And standing in front of a car is definitely a scenario where you can end up getting yourself hurt. And the second question is, why was his gun out? It's not like she was armed. And it's like the first thing they want to do is pull their gun out when they see somebody black. Now, I did some research about the state of Ohio when it comes to policing. And an article that came out in 2020 says Ohio is an especially bad offender when it comes to racial disparities in police killings. From 2013 to 2019, 215 Ohioans were killed by police, 80 of whom were black. That means over a third, 37% of people killed by police over that time period were black, despite the fact that only 12% of Ohioans were, as a whole, are black, according to the Census Bureau. The 25% point disparity makes Ohio a top 10 worst state for racial disparities in police killings and constitute a bigger disparity than all of its neighboring states. When large people across the country think about large-scale activism, they might not think about Columbus, Ohio, but Ohio's capital city has exploded with protests over time in the wake of George Floyd's killing. Columbus is no stranger to police killings. Officers in the Columbus Division of Police killed 40 people from 2013 to 2019, more than 3 times as many as any other agency in the state of Ohio. Of those 40 people killed by Columbus police officers, 27 were black, a number more than 3 times as high as any other agency in the state. So that means Columbus police are killing black people at higher rates than other police departments across Ohio, which are killing black people at higher rates than police across the United States, who are killing people as a whole as higher rates than police in other developed countries are. It is unacceptable that a bottle of stolen liquor at a Kroger results in a black woman ending up dead at the hands of police officers. Now, somehow when it comes to white supremacists going inside supermarkets and opening fire and killing black folks, then all of a sudden these guys can find their police training. So it's not an issue of training. It's not an issue of training. So there's that. And to the people out there that's sitting up here talking this nonsense, well, had she complied, she would still be alive. Did you apply that same energy to Ashley Babbitt? If you didn't, then you can know your role and shut your mouth. Know your role and shut your mouth. The fact of the matter is, this woman had no business ending up dead. If anything, you let her get away, you get the license plate, and then you go get her later on. Because you had all the you can get all the information from the license plate. Instead, this police officer who was quote unquote in fear of his life, had to take his gun out and open fire, and a black woman ends up dead, and her 2 young sons is not going to be able to see their mama ever again. It's unacceptable and it's disgusting. So, one more question before I play a tribute to all the fallen citizens in Ohio over the last 10 years. Another question I have, right? What took us so long? Why did it take a year before we finally get charges on this police officer? What was taking so long? Are you really trying to find a way to cover this up? I mean, better late than never, but still, what took so long? That's all I got to say about that. Before I end this video, I got a tribute video that I made in recognizing the fallen individuals at the hands of police. And I will catch you in the next video as I leave you with this.